got up to see it? Well, I didn't. Because I'll tell you why. I had an eclipse experience, and that's what I'm going to share with you today is my eclipse experience. It happened to me my first movement into ministerial school. And the first experience was a colloquial that they had at Santa Maria's Retreat Center in Montecito, California. And all of the ministerial students throughout the country came. And I had never met any of them. I was new to the community. And so the dean of the school talked about how there had been a forest fire. And she had looked outside her window at the retreat center and saw a mountain lion walk in front of her door. Wow. So it happened that evening was a full moon eclipse. And people that I didn't know invited me to go down to the valley and lay in the grass and watch the eclipse. And I was happy to do that. So we walked down there and we laid in the grass and we watched the eclipse. And they were mostly younger than me. And they were drinking. And they were being very raucous and loud and quite, I don't know, stupid. So I thought to myself, really, I could just be very content back in my bed. So I watched the actual closing off of the moon, and I said to them, I'm just going to go to bed now. And I got up, and I started off to what I believed to be the direction of my bed.
We know how you are with directions.
Did you hear what Kathy said? We know how you are with directions. And so that's a self-fulfilling prophecy. I often say, oh my goodness, I get lost so easily. Well, I got so lost in the dark of Montecito. And I don't know whether you're familiar with that, but let me just tell you that Oprah Winfrey lives there. And Montecito is the most expensive area in probably the country. There's these huge estates set back from the road behind great big fences. And it is very dark in an eclipse. I don't know whether any of you have ever gone to, like Carlsbad Caverns or in a deep cave where they turn the lights off and it is so profoundly dark. That's how it was in the eclipse of Montecito. I could not see my feet in front of myself. I couldn't see my hand in front of my face. I could see nothing, period. And I kept walking, and I was thinking, I should be able to see the lights of Santa Maria. No. So I made a U-turn, and I turned back, and I went back to what I believed was the other way. Walking. And then, I started getting scared. I thought, is that a mountain lion I hear? Oh my God. And then I would walk some more, and suddenly there would be these huge sounds of dogs bouncing on fences. And I was walking. And I thought, you know, if I just put one foot in front of the other and stay on the path, eventually something will happen. And I did that, walking on the path, making sure that I kept straight. And then there was this car that I could see in the distance. And I thought, that could be a good thing, or that could be a very bad thing. And I just kept walking. And I said to myself, the unity prayer of protection, the light of God surrounds me, the love of God enfolds me, the power of God protects me, and the presence of God watches over me. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. One foot in front of the other, walking, walking. Then I started singing. This may sound familiar to you. When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high, and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm is a golden sky and the sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. And I kept walking, and it was so dark, profoundly dark. How long does a stupid eclipse last, for goodness sake? So eventually, and I have no idea, I didn't have my cell phone, and I didn't have my watch on, and I had nothing. And I kept walking. But far, far away, I saw streetlights. Oh. So I walked, and I walked, and I walked, and I came to the streetlights, and it was an intersection in Montecito Village, and there were lights there. And only nothing but storefronts. And I was standing in the middle of the street thinking, this could be a good thing, or this could be a very bad thing. And I thought, I'm very vulnerable, standing right here in the middle of the road with the lights shining down on me. So I stepped out into the shadows. And just as I did that, this beat-up old car came careening around the corner right where I had been standing and crashed around through the driveways. And I thought, oh my goodness, who could be out at this hour driving around like mad people? And then, by watching what they were doing, I realized that they were delivering papers. Oh, man. Now, those are enterprising people. So I thought, and they had stopped. And I went running, and I was yelling, hey, I'm lost. How do you get to the Santa Maria retreat? Hey, wait. And as I got closer, I could see that they were two Latino young people. And as I came rushing forward at them, they sort of recoiled like, oh my goodness, what is this crazy woman? And they were speaking back in Spanish to each other. And so I realized that they didn't speak English. And all they were hearing was, blah, 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 Santa Maria. Blah, 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 Santa Maria. Of course they were scared. I was scared. They must have been scared. And they were just like. And so finally, they started to get in their car and go away, and I'm yelling, no, I'm lost, Santa Maria, how do you get to Santa Maria? And so they were parked right in front of a deli. And some guy came to the door, and they're saying, and then they got in their car and they went away. And so I'm knocking on the door to the deli, and some sweet man came to the door who also did not speak English. I'm giving him the Santa Maria conversation, and he's going. So I said, can I use your phone? Telephone, I don't know. You know, when we think we're communicating with someone in a different language, we say stupid stuff, right? Telefono, I don't know. So he let me come in. And I said, you know, I was trying to ask about the telephone book to dial, you know. And so finally, we did communicate. And he did show me to the phone. And so I said, like, what's the number for the police? Police? So anyway, I called 911, and I got the police, and the woman said, oh, well, you're in Montecito. This is the Santa Barbara Police Department. You need to call the sheriff in Montecito. Oh, Lord. How do you find the sheriff's number in Montecito? So I called that, 911. Can you tell me what this... So, in the meantime, this lovely man who was prepping for the restaurant, he was going about his business, and there was a money drawer open right next to me. And that made me nervous. I thought, you know, maybe I would hit that, or if he was missing money or something. And I said something about, you know, you may want to move that. And he said, oh, yes. And he slapped down a piece of raw broccoli right there. There, he says. Okay. There you go. So finally, I got to the sheriff's department, and I said to the woman, I'm really lost in Montecito. I'm in front of Dave's Cafe, and can you tell me how to get to Santa Maria? And the woman said, oh, honey, you'll never find Santa Maria from there. She said, I'll send the sheriff. Oh, wow, thanks. So the poor man is very nervous. The police are coming, the sheriff's coming, I don't know. But the sheriff did arrive. And the sweet man, he let me out of the little restaurant doing the crucifix, crossing himself and saying, Santa Maria, Santa Maria. Thank you. So I get into the sheriff's car, and it's dark. And the sheriff also was having trouble finding Santa Maria.
Oh, no.
But in the intimacy in the dark of the sheriff's car, he had an opportunity to tell me about his life, about his problems with his wife and his children and his work. And we're circling around looking for Santa Maria. And I realized, in a sense, he was as lost as I. And so we did find it. After he had had an opportunity to tell a story. And I realized that's the reason that I had been lost. there are never any accidents. So, at this time, I consider this to be my personal parable. Because I think, I think Jesus must have felt that same way. Lost. And as he was going up the hill carrying his cross, he's saying, when you walk through the storm, hold your head up high. Ernest Holmes tells us that Jesus always gave thanks and declared his prayer, except for one time. And the one time was when he was in the Garden of Gethsemane, and he said that he prayed this. I'm going to say it the way Ernest Holmes said it. I'm not sure that Jesus actually said it this way. He prayed, "Oh, my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt." So he really didn't want to go up that mountain. He really did not want to be in the position that he was in. But he had enough faith and enough trust to put one foot in front of the other and to keep going. He had that deep level of faith, trusting that whatever his Father willed for him, he was willing to do, even though he did not want to do it. So he laid in that tomb for 3 days. And I think about how dark it was for me in the eclipse, how dark it must have been for him in that cave. And he had time to heal. And then he was allowed out in whatever way. The story is that 2 angels came and rolled away the rock that was in front of his tomb. I don't know, maybe that happened. I do believe that he was, in whatever way, was resurrected. There's too much information and stories that really show us that he was resurrected. And the purpose, of course, like we talked, his purpose was to bring spirit and to bring compassion into our world. Now, there are experiences of people who have died and come back to life. There was a man in Ohio who was dead for 45 minutes. And his family was praying. And his son walked in and said to him, "Dad, you're not going to die today." And the man did come back to life. There's a story of a baby being born who was dead. And I don't know where this happened. The baby was born and lived for moments and then died. And the doctors tried to resuscitate this baby. But she was dead. And the neonatal nurse could not bring herself to put that baby into the morgue. So she took it, this little girl, and put her on the altar of the chapel. And then the family came to claim the child for a funeral. And she cried. So, the stories of Jesus being resurrected, while difficult for some to believe, are really quite plausible. And he walked among us, they say, for 40 days. And then they don't know what happened. They don't know what happened to him. Did he ascend? Did he stay to live a life? There's a National Geographic program that I just was dazzled by that said that in the middle of Jerusalem, when they were trying to put in new plumbing, they found a tomb and a sarcophagus that had the name of Jesus and all of the family. Mary was there and all of the brothers were in, I don't know what the plural or singular of sarcophagus or sarcophagi, were all there. So perhaps he did live to walk among us. But what I do know is that there was a purpose for him to be here, and there were lessons for us to learn. And so just like I was there for the sheriff in whatever way, Jesus is there for so many of us in whatever way serves us. So it's all plausible. It's all possible. And what is the lesson that you have to learn from it? What's the lesson that I have to learn from it? I just want to close with a reading from, guess who? Mark Napo. I've adapted it for myself. And I've changed his remarks about clouds to darkness. So let me read this to you. I do better without my glasses. So faith, it seems, can be defined as the effort to believe in light when we're surrounded by darkness. And though it feels like the sun will never come again, the truth is, it has never stopped burning its light. In fact, its heat and warmth is burning steadily right now on the far side of darkness. If we can only suspend our judgment when darkness is in the heart. For many, skepticisms are born from conclusions drawn while unable to see, as if any kind of understanding will prevent the darkness from coming or going again and again. But no night lasts forever, and earth and all that grows from it knows this well. So does the heart and everything that grows from it. In spite of all of our understandable pains, the heart knows no darkness lasts forever. I'd like to invite the practitioners to stand and join with me as we hold this community in prayer, knowing and trusting that the lessons that we need to learn from the story of Jesus is clear and available to us. So join with me as I turn within, where I meet, in that place where I meet that divine one that Jesus called Father, that I call God, the cosmic essence, the all-knowing, the creative. And I allow myself to permit the light of the divine to shine in my heart, to fill me with faith and trust, to know that my work is simply to put one foot in front of the other, to know that at the end of the storm is the golden light. And so, whatever is resting on your heart heavy in the darkness today, just allow the light to shine on it, to fill you with the knowing and the wisdom that it is in divine order. And the truth is always available to you. And if you find that your heart is filled with lightness and joy and peace, I invite you to recognize that on the deepest level, fully knowing that that is the truth. That spirit and compassion and love is the only truth. And no matter how we might hide from it, how we might forget it, how we might scare and frighten ourselves, the truth is, all we need to do is turn to the light and trust that all is well. And so I hold up any darkness I give it over to the divine light. And I celebrate the good, the joy, the peace and the harmony that is absolutely the truth. And so with gratitude, with enthusiasm, with great joy and confidence, I give it all over to the divine. And gratefully, I declare it done, and I invite you to join with me as we say together, and so it is.